Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to round one of my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by, for the last month, Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming. And a huge shout out to those two for everything that they've done for us. And we got 3 rounds, count them up, ladies and gents, 3 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy coming your way today. But first and foremost, for those of you who aren't quite acquainted as to who I am, I'm RedEyes, your ever-lovable and adorably cuddly caster, bringing you that daily dosage of butt-kickery, tomfoolery, and all-around shenaniganism. We do have a stacked lobby for you today, boys and girls. We got Tiny Fan Club, Nucleotide Vendetta, The Old Gangsters, Mezexis, that's right, I said it, Mezexis Esports, Saturn Esports NA, J Nepal, Extreme Slayers, Bope Esports, Rude Dudes, Error Esports B, Error Esports A, Train to Kill NA, Overnight, Rising Legend, Zenith, C4 Esports, Eclipse, One Blood, Synergetic, and Team Supreme. A lot of heavy hitter T1s coming into the qualifiers today. And we are kicking things off with, you guessed it, ladies and gents, the very first map ever introduced to the game. Of course, I am speaking of Erangel. What needs to be said about it? It's the off-bred love child to Sandhawk and Miramar, because it really is the perfect middle ground between those two extremes, which leaves it fairly reliant upon the flight path to determine what sort of early game we end up getting. And as you can see, it's an almost perfectly central flight path for our participants. They are going to be left with nothing but options upon options in terms of early game drop spots. Now, what does that mean for us, the viewer? Well, it means we could be due for a bit of a slower early game, but I'm okay with that. You know my spiel. More passive early game always means a more action-packed and climactic mid or in-game, so it'll be worth the trade. But you know what? We already seem to have some potential action here on the board, and I will go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna let that intro play out just one more time because I'm pretty stoked on it. But yeah, we've got members of Old Gangsters here dropping alongside the opponents in C4 Esports at the Pachinki region. Now this could be, oops, sorry about that. The Pachinki region. Now this could be a little bit interesting because this is gonna be a battle for who can get the loot the fastest. You know, it's that early weapon that can make all the difference between a good game and a bad game. And case in point here, we got Katri in a bit of a conundrum because his teammate, Kiddu, has already been knocked by the likes of Psycho and Kiss Me. And so that's going to put him in a bit of a handicap here in what looks to be a 3v2. Actually, it is going to be a 3v3, but as you notice, Old Gangsters are just currently desperate to acquire some loot. C4 getting a little bit luckier there off the bat, getting that early takedown. And this can be a bit of a conundrum here for the Old Gangsters early game. You know, Pachinki is one of those cities that is so abundant and lush in compounds and cover from the buildings that you can be right up next to an enemy and not even be aware. But these two teams, with the entire city to choose from, decided to land on top of one another for better or for worse. And so that does come with a bit of risk to it. And off in the distance, it looks like, actually, let me go ahead and pull this up. Off in the distance, we do have a little bit of a cluster here around the Georgia Pole region. In the South George region, we've got members of, I believe that's going to be, yes, Eclipse, alongside members of ERG, that's going to be Synergetic. Now, they've got a little bit of space there in between them, but in the kill feed, it looks like Rude Dudes might be going at it. So we're going to go ahead and catch a brief eye on that, just see what all is happening. And yes, they are in a bit of a tussle here with members of Overnight. We've got Peaceful here just trying to acquire some good loot here. He's got himself a Scar L UMP 45 for that CQC combat. And let's go have a look-see at some of his teammates. We got Zeus here, the little fiddler on the roof, holding position with an M16 as well as a UMP-45 of his own, while Unknown holds the forefront, currently swimming in a pool of rude dudes. He's got a 2-2 split around him, and that could prove fairly disadvantageous for him if he is not able to take one or two out before getting them unawares. That surprise factor can be the absolute variable between life and death. Now, look here. We got Manny and Peaceful each holding opposite ends. They clearly know of Unknown's location, but do they know of his teammates elsewhere? Sorry about that map, ladies and gentlemen. Still getting in the habit of it, but if anyone is aware or not aware, there has been a horrific observer glitch. Ooh, Peaceful taken out Unknown just like that. That's the first takedown, and Manny quick to swarm upon him and secure that thirst with the Bison. But anyways, if you haven't been made aware of it, there is just a horrific spectator glitch where it will show this fight and knock and thirst ongoingly happen for the entirety of the match. And, ooh, Bangu of Rude Dudes getting another takedown. Rude Dudes in full form now with 2 kills and potentially having Rise up against the ropes. Yes, he is down. That's going to leave only one wall left. That's wall 77K, and he's desperately trying to dip out of dodge and try to get some placement for his team. Which brings me to a great point, ladies and gentlemen. We are working with the updated PMPL scoring structure. Now, what does that mean? That means that eliminations are going to be a heftier load of the influence in determining the winners here. Meaning that, yes, more points for eliminations and less points to the placements. Why? Because we're 5 years into PUBG Mobile Esports, and we don't really feel that enthused by the zone camping. And I think at this stage, 5 years into PUBG Mobile Esports, the level of competition has gotten to a point where we don't really need to play that waiting game for the entirety of a match. So I'm all for it, but be well aware that does not mean placement does not hold a significant influence. The top 8 positions will be getting placement points, and they absolutely do carry a weight. So it's not to discredit it, but it does mean moving forward to the future of PUBG Mobile, we might be seeing a little bit more elimination-intensive battle. All right, so we've got members of BOPE Esports here, fairly close to TFC. As a matter of fact, Supra and Grundon here about to literally drive right next to Dusku of TFC, and it does not look like they will be engaging with one another. Now, while this may look like ongoing altercations are happening, it's really only walls left here. Let's catch a brief eye as he is just awaiting the inevitable push from the opposition in region. And boom, there it is. Walls with securing the takedown with that AK-47. 7.62 in the close quarter is a rough one to go against. Oh, and it looks like misfire going after Mezexis in the distance now. Walls, knowing his moments could be numbered with only a limited amount of time before the inevitable push and no meds left. He has gone for the preliminary boost, but that's about all he can do. Apparently, I'm wrong. Apparently, he's got bandies, but the nades have spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Hellfire raining upon him, and the Rude Dudes secure their 4th kill without losing a single member in the process. Oh, I withdraw that. Bangu is out of the equation. My apologies. But 3 members up for 4 kills is a pretty decent trade-off. I think we can agree. But where is our next bit of blood going to come from? It will be a little bit more difficult to determine given this glitch. But I'm going to say that it is most likely going to be here between Air Esports B and the looming opposition in BOPE Esports. Now, BOPE Esports, a renowned professional team, as we all know, so not to be taken any kind of lightly. We got Roa, Supra, Ophelia, and Grunion. Grunion? I'm not quite sure how to say his name. If anyone knows how to pronounce it in chat, let me know. All right, shots have been fired outward towards Air. All right, let's see what sort of playing field we got here. What sort of distance are we working with? Oh, okay, a good bit of open field here. Now, that could be problematic for several reasons, just because with that much open space, we are unlikely to see any advancements without the aid of a vehicle. But no time to waste as C4... actually, nope, C4 has taken on this fight quite earlier on. It's just the glitch. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But getting eyes once again. Pope has that situation under control. This glitch is a nightmare. But, you know, a lot of people get so easily frustrated with it. But when you think about it, 5 years ago when this game came out, we were all blown away by the capability of a mobile game being able to handle a server-intensive workload like this. And now, how quickly we got spoiled and quickly moved on to complaining. But, you know, these things are a part of the game here. We are dealing with mobile still at the end of the day, but tons of improvements have come along those 5 years, and I expect more to come soon. Ooh, looks like we have another potential oncoming threat. It would be the other members of Synergetic coming up to join the party. It's Lambs, Dyer, and KK here. They lost Goated a little earlier in the process, so it's going to be interesting what sort of pressure this adds on to, well, I was going to say onto Hawk of Error, but I don't believe he's around anymore. He was about to be sandwiched, but it doesn't look to be the case. But speaking of sandwich, we got TFC being surrounded by none other than Jay Nepal. Now, Jay Nepal clearly playing the slow haul here. They know this is a marathon, not a sprint, and they want to make sure that they get at least some decent placement here and not undo their chances of advancement early on. At least not in the first game. So, it does seem, however, that they are getting a little bit confident here with this 2-1-1 split here. Actually, let's scratch that. It's almost a 3-1 split here with the vehicle. That's going to put a little bit of pressure on Yoaraji. Yeah, he's driving in between two teams. He's got TFC behind him, and in front of him, or I guess on his other side, he's got members of ESPORTS A. And nobody has taken a single shot at him. So, hey, Aiden, guys, thank you so much for being here. The codes, well, the room codes are for the registered participants. Anyone is welcome to register by signing up in my Discord server, the RedEyes Den, and the forward link is redeyesofficial.com. That'll take you right to it. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't aware, we are doing 2 UC 600 UC code giveaways tonight. So be on the lookout for that, because I will be posting spontaneously, no prior warning. And the codes will be shown exclusively to YouTube, most likely, meaning that I will very likely type it in, you know, or show it in the stream on Twitch, regain it. But at least for one of the codes will be a YouTube exclusive. So if you are not watching on YouTube and you are currently watching on Twitch, that's !YT, !YouTube in the chat. Now, where's our next bit of blood gonna come from? It looks potentially like it could be between members of TFC and the southbound threat in T2K. T2K, of course, being trained to kill in A. Doesn't look like that's actually going to amount to much, as trained to kill is currently bowing out of the situation, pulling a rotation. But we do have some shots being fired here from TFC northbound towards members of ESPORTS A. Now, this is going to be a bit of a slow battle, because even if they are able to secure a knock from this distance, even if Trouble takes Casty down, what then? Do you really feel that confident upon getting a vehicle and driving that far out to advance upon the enemy before they're able to secure a revive? I say the odds are unlikely. So what is it that they are really doing here? Well, they're using up their ammo, but they're also using up the opponent's ammo. They're getting their armor depleted while depleting the opponent's armor. But is that potentially a fight worth taking in this particular scenario? I'd say it varies on a case-by-case basis. In this case, I wouldn't exactly align with it, but that's always with an observer's 20/20 vision, and that's a luxury the participants do not have. Now, we've got members of GXE. This is members of Eclipse, working their way just beneath Mizex's Esports. Now, Mizex is pulling a rotation, heading northbound, and about to head into none other than C4. C4, one of the dominators of the AMG Aftershock Media Group Titan series, the only other community-based tournament in North America to recurrently give the community active recurrent participation opportunities to compete against the Tier 1 pros. And ladies and gentlemen, they're doing that with a $2,000 prize pool every single season. So if you are not following Aftershock Media Group or Titan Series, that's titanseries.gg is their website, Titan Series GG on Instagram. Now look here, we've got something brewing already. It's going to be members, it's going to be Extreme Slayers just above me, Zexus. Another Tier 1 team here coming up to the party. We got Frady, Hayuya, Remix, and Robert. Oh, this is their starting lineup too. These guys are not to be taken any sort of lightly, but as we know, neither is Mezexus. So I think both of these teams are playing with an air of caution and respect to the win for their opponent. But what is about to happen here? Gosh, this glitch is a nightmare incarnate. But I'll tell you what, one good thing about having multiple devices is we can get multiple view feeds. So while this is looming on here, let's go check out the battle between Eclipse and C4 Esports. We're going to get a brief eye here on the big screen. We got Daddy Payne, Psycho, and Bond coming up. They get a knock on an Eclipse member. No Mercy is taken down, leaving it entirely reliant upon Kai, and Kai alone to carry on the team name. And here, there's very to little, no potential route for escape from this altercation. This is a fight he is more than oh, I withdraw that. I did not see that had 3 tires still remaining. I thought that was a 2-tire buggy there. But it looks like One Blood going in after members of Saturn Esports in the distance. Let's catch a brief eye. Ooh, and that is it for that one. We skipped out right before that takedown. But no time to waste as One Blood goes closer in proximity here. All right. Now, this little standoff in the distance is not really amounting to much, so we're going to get eyes once again. It does look like Mezexus is going to be advancing. Ooh, Slayer OP is taken down by Derwin. All right, well, that's going to put Makuri in a 1v1 scenario here with Darwin. And he's already preparing, cooking up a preliminary nade, trying to make it rain a little bit of hellfire. Ooh, but it's actually going to be a nade from Extreme Slayers onto Mezexus. Let's go catch eyes on that in the distance. If we can... Oh, Makuri, did he get the takedown? Not quite. It's going to be Darwin. And survival of the fittest is very much in effect there. But speaking of which, we have got a battle of the fittest here as Mezexus takes on their opponents in Extreme Slayers. But the skyline has fallen, leaving it upon Crow and Inactive to carry on the team's name. It looks to be a 2v2, so a fair fight, but one nade from Remix to take out 2 of them. 2 birds, 1 stone. Beautifully done. All right, that is clipped and titled. Now look here, Crow playing a very gutsy move here. He straying a little bit ahead here. Oh, I see. His teammate Inactive is down, and just like that, Mezexus has been reduced down to 1 final member. There will be 1 Crow left standing here, and he's going to have to play it fairly reserved if he wants to actually have a shot at reaching that in-game. But so much happening here on the playing field. We got Bope going off in the distance. Let's catch a brief eye on Bope Esports. That'll be Team 10 here. My apologies. And yeah, it looks like they're in relatively close proximity to C4 as Ophelia scopes outward with that M4 4X combo. Looks like Mr. Black going off in the distance against members of Error. And yes, indeed, there is a fight looming off in the distance. And it has just concluded, I believe. No, not quite. It's still looming between Jay Nepal, a member of Mezexus, a member of the Rude Dudes Northbound, and then a gang of Extreme Slayers beneath. So this is a tough position here for Lucifer, and he's going to have to play the slow play. Matter of fact, let's pull that up on the big screen. Oh, ERG going off in the distance. Yeah, we'll catch eyes on Synergetic. Synergetic now reduced down to a 2-piece of Dire and Lambs, but still hanging on. And I don't know for how much longer, because they have a potential threat behind them in the shape and form of Team Supreme as QTZ and Cyber close in from behind. Dyer and Lambs very much reliant upon geographical cover and that smoke. Going to exemplify a great point, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless of what map you're on, when compound cover becomes few and far between, that is when it comes down to really understanding the geography and the lay of the land, we'll say, of each map, where to get some sort of cover, where it can be afforded. You know, knowing the good hills and divots. When that cover isn't afforded to you, it's extremely important that you have a reserve of utilities come in-game. As we just noticed, that smoke grenade was all that was separating him from open, vulnerable fire. Now look here, Kaji relying upon a smoke himself, trying to enshroud himself in a cloud here and block the fire from extreme slayers. But as we all know, a little spray and pray could be all it takes to take Kaji down here. He's the last member up from Train to Kill, but keep in mind, they entered as just a 3-piece, so he's still hanging on. Now, I think, yep, we are going to switch out, actually, over to Zeus of the Rue Dudes, because he has got a lot of trouble heading inbound. It's got a full team of Error members. This is Error Esports A coming in, and it looks like they have no idea. I withdraw it. Classy says, stay classy, Zeus. You're out. Back to lobby. And here we have it. Now, Error has definitely given their location out as basically a honing beam, and Jay and Paul, like sharks in the water, smell the blood and are already engaging with some preliminary nades thrown downhill. That gives them the high ground advantage as well, not to mention the number advantage up against Error Esports A. I withdraw that. They do not have a number advantage. What are words? But look here, Crow could actually have a great opportunity here. With this position of cover, as long as he is not spotted here, he just needs to wait for one team to attack on the other and then basically feast on the scraps. A feast for crows, so to speak. Oof! Buffad is down, and here we have it. KK up at the forefront, going for a drop shot, and here he is! 4 firing with the AK-47, but taking damage in retaliation. It is a battle of bullets. Classy taken down to half. KK just a little bit above, but they have only lost Lucifer so far in the process. They are still standing strong as a 3-piece. Fury very much in the equation here, but still down to half health, meaning he is going to need to prioritize a heal, and Yoaraji needs to do the overwatch and cover fire, and maybe even try to get a nade here on the opponent Aqua before this revive on Deep can happen. Well, you can see they're trying, but it's a little bit overthrown there. Classy gonna try to get oh, he's already gotten the revive on Fufad. They are back up to a full 4-piece, and I do account that to a mistake on Jay Nepal's end. That was a bit of an error on their end. Pun intended. All right. Well. Oh, the nade just crashes down on Yoaraji. Absolutely swarming, and here comes trouble. Jay Nepal Fury is going to be humbled real quick, and Lucifer is down as well. And just like that, Error was waiting for an error on Jay Nepal's end, and they got it and capitalized perfectly. Now, no time to waste, as Mr. Black of the TFC crew, firing away with an 8x Mini 14, does secure the knock on Remix of the Extreme Slayers. All right. Wow. It is very tough to read this map, I am aware. But I'm hearing shots, and yes, it's going to be Mr. Black now engaging on Pope as he takes Grunion down. He is a DMR madman. But boy, he definitely needs to prioritize a little bit of healing for himself, leaving it reliant upon Dusku in trouble and Little U to provide the overwatch and cover fire, and they do that in full form as Dusku aiming outwards with that 4x Glacier M4, putting the hurting and the pressure on the likes of Bope. It's all reliant upon Roa and Supra here to do the overwatch, healing, and cover fire while Grunion heals. They still need to bring Ophelia back up as well. But look, off in the distance, yep, here we have it. Supra engaging and does secure the takedown on the TFC opponent. No, oh my goodness. Now we have Error in a little bit of a tussle here with TFC as well. TFC engaging with multiple opponents at once. On the all-out aggressive, as you can see, Little U holding off Error all on his or her own and securing the takedown on deep with that AUG-23. Oh my goodness gracious, Aqua. If revenge has ever been dished out, it has been dished out in full form on a silver platter just then, as Aqua just swarms down on the opponent with a monster frag grenade, perfectly placed. All right, so I think, yep, we do have a tussle going on between Supra of Hope and a rival pro team, Extreme Slayers, but Hayuya is down, leaving it reliant upon Remix and Robert GG as well as Frady to carry on the team name. And Robert GG with a very, very experienced move here. Now, a lot of people would say, why would you be using a vehicle come in-game like this? But that would be only to the untrained eye. This vehicle is not a vehicle for the sake of being a vehicle. It's a vehicle for the sake of emergency cover fire. That little vehicle, if you blow it up, could be the only thing separating him from an onslaught of bullets. And that, again, great point to make here. Come in-game, when those bits of cover can become few and far between, and the geographical cover is not in your favor, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out of utilities, you gotta improvise sometimes. All right, Dusku taking a world of damage, and this is not good for him. He is the low ground disadvantage holder and getting attention of numerous teams desperately in need of a first aid. He's going to go for it now. Can he get this in time? He does. Not bad. All right. Well, yep. We got Crow firing outwards towards Aqua, and he does secure the takedown. But boy, oh boy, Error dishing it right back out in full form, and that is going to take him out. Now, we guys still have this final TFC member, Dusku, hanging on by the hair on his chin, just by a thread, going full boost and fairly well resourced in terms of utilities and nades, mollies. He's got meds and boost. This is about as good of a position as you're going to get here as a solo, with the exception to the fact that he is outside of the zone and a risky ways to travel inbound. Luckily, Bope Esports, his primary, or I should say initial threat, has already been taken out by Extreme Slayers, and in doing so, they gave up the location to TFC's Dusku, and he just picks them out like fish in a barrel, going to exemplify just how patience can pay off sometimes in PUBG Mobile. All right, well, Air is, notorious for something this match. It would be the revenge play. These guys do not let someone knock their teammate without that being dished right back out in spades. And look at them. Even though they are down to half their starting lineup, they still have 7 kills between those two. And this is a 2v2, and boom. Boom goes the dynamite, all too literally. Classy, raining hellfire upon Robert GG, making it all reliant upon Frady. What can he do here as this last hope? A 1v2 is possible. He does get the knock off of Fod, brought down to half health, but still very much in the equation. Going to desperately try to get a first aid off. Can he pull this off? 1v1, a fair fight to end round 1. The nades crash down upon him. He wants that oh, there it is! Boom goes the dynamite. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute banger for a finish there. Any way you look at it, that's got to be game over. And what a freaking phenomenal performance there at the hands of Air Esports. Now, keep in mind, there are 2 Air teams here, but this one right here, Classy, Aqua, Fafad, and Deep, securing that gold medal chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue first place finish with, count them up, 13 kills, and almost half of those kills are going to go to Classy alone. But ain't nothing wrong with Silver, as Extreme Slayers secure second place with a whopping 10 kills. TFC going all the way up to that bronze medal third place finish and doing it with a extremely healthy 12 kills. We got Bope Esports grabbing 4th and doing so with 8, half of which go to Grunion. Mizexis getting 5th place with 3. We got Jay Nepal securing 6th with 4 kills, 1 per person. Everybody eats. We got Envy, Nucleotide Envy, in 7th place with but 1 kill, and that's going to go to 20p. 8th place going to a 2-piece here of Team Supreme, but unfortunately for them, they are entering as a 2-piece, and that is not enough tags to be scored. But it wasn't a waste of their time. By entering this match, they ensure that they aren't, and they would still have to participate for every match, but they're ensuring that they aren't banned from Dead in August, which is going to have a big announcement. The other error team securing 9th place with 1 kill from Zayldar. We got Train to Kill in 10th place, entering as a 3-piece, but no kills to their name. Rude Dudes in 11th with a pretty healthy 5 kills. We got members of Synergetic grabbing 12th with 1 kill from Dyer. C4 Esports in 13th with 6. We got RS. This is going to be none other than Rising Legend, grabbing 14th with 1 kill from Guacamole. I believe, let me double check to be sure, but yep, that is Saturn Esports in 15th with 4, half of which go to Darwin. We got One Blood in 16th, but with Big Ol' Onion for kills. Members of Eclipse grabbing 17th with 1 kill from Misfire. We've got ZX. ZX is going to be none other than Zenith Esports in 18th place with 0 kills. The Old Gangsters in 19th with 1 kill from Daku. Overnight in last place, 20th with 1 kill from Walls. Now, ladies and gents, we've only got 1 round out of the way, but that was Erangel, the very first map introduced to this game. Now, that's the map that our participants should be the most familiar with, most synergized, most rehearsed, and most prepared for. But what is going to happen when we change up the scenery a little bit and move to that dry, wide open, arid desert? I am, of course, wow, these tongue twisters, I am, of course, speaking about Miramar as we return for round 2 of 3 of my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament. Qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming in just a few short moments. But, I know I'm keeping you on the tip of your toes wondering when. Well, that is so you tune in the whole time. But the very first UC code, we are giving away 2 600 UC codes each qualifier, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are about to have the very first one. Are you ready? Let me go ahead and actually get that link pasted in here so we are for sure equally prepared to redeem. I want it to be as fair as possible, and I did kind of in the heat of the moment forget to pin that. So let me go ahead and paste that link. Redeem codes at bam. And I will pin right now. Bum, ba, da, bum. Trying to pin right now. Wow, that is that little emoji thing. There we go. All right, it is pinned. So, ladies and gents, without further ado, the very first 600 UC code of the night is CKEQZOGZE, baby. And that will be redeemable at the link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. And that is only good for 1 redeem, ladies and gents. So it's first come, first serve. But we will be back with round 2 of 3 of my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming in just a few short moments. Stick around. Be back soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 2 of 3 of my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming for the final month. And once again, a huge shout out and thank you to those two. They sponsored the entire last year, from July to July, the entirety of the event, and that is probably single-handedly the nicest gesture of friendship that, I don't know what to say. They did this for the community because they love this game. And so I want it to be known that the entire last year of the event was only possible because of those two. So if you haven't extended a huge thank you to them for making it possible, please do so. But kicking off into the thick of it, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with round 2 of 3, and of course it's Miramar. What do we need to say about Miramar? It is essentially the largest map in the game. Technically, Erengel's also an 8x8, but that includes Erengel's bodies of water, so this is the largest map, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is going to be a bit slimmer. But at the same time, it's also the most open map that we have in the game, meaning that the odds of you being sniped from 300 meters away is exponentially higher. So you need to be aware of not just your immediate surroundings, but your distant surroundings as well. And the third and final thing is this is the kind of map that's entirely reliant upon the flight path to determine our early game. And this is one of the most advantageous paths that this map has. And the reason for that is actually just because of this route from, this route from Minas de Val or Del Mar all the way up into the junkyard region. It just takes you in between a channel of 2 strings of cities and compounds. So our participants are left with basically the most early game drop options that they could possibly have on this map. But no time to waste. We are going to get into it. I'm going to let that play out one more. Nah, we're here. Let's get into the thick of it. We've already got people relatively close by, but remember what I said. Objects may appear a little further than they actually are, but they are indeed here as Kizzy is taken down. This is an altercation between the likes of Bope, Esports, and the people we're spectating, Zenith. Now, Zenith could be in a bit of trouble here as they are currently sandwiched in a 2-1 split against these Bope members. And as we noted earlier, Bope is a renowned professional team, not to be taken lightly. But luckily for the Zenith crew, they are still a full 4-piece and finding some early game weaponry. Kizzy is being revived. He's back up on his feet, and here we go. Preparing for an altercation potentially, but at the same time, Bope is still desperate for loot as well. You know who might not be quite, who might not be quite as desperate for loot in this altercation is the opponents here in Extreme Slayers, as they have already taken down. They shot a hawk down from the sky. This is members of Error Esports B. They've already lost Hawk, leaving it reliant upon Master Jonathan and Zayldar. And there it is, Bope and Zenith having at it again in the distance. Bope being relentless. They are angry. They lost Supra early on and out for blood and revenge here on the mind. Grunyan holding position. He is responsible for the team's first kill and already readily equipped with an M4 SKS combo. Now, since that DMR buff, the SKS has been a bit more tolerable to the participants, but Grunyan getting a line of sight on Dolce, and it is quick work with that M416. That's going to put Mono 77 here in a bit of a conundrum. I'm going to say up against a wall, so to speak, if not literally. But he's desperate to try to secure the revive, and I think he might actually be able to do it in just enough time. It's going to be a battle for time, and Grunyan not wasting too much of an opportunity to advance, but those brief few seconds could have been more than likely enough to get that positioning and secure the revive. I think he knows, and he's weighed the options. Yeah, that's why he hasn't gone for the full-on advancement. Whoop. That is another takedown on an Error member. Boy, Bope is just laying a slaughter here. Actually, that was Bope who got that Error member off. No, I see. It was members of Extreme Slayers against the other Error. There are 2 Errors participating here with the same tag, so it's a little bit confusing sometimes. But Robert GG just bringing on an onslaught of bullets, and boy, oh boy, the gun that is the talk of the town lately, the double barrel shotgun, the DBS, just an absolute monstrosity for participants since that buff. This has been a one-shot, one-kill kind of thing, but Zeldar going up in a situation where he is outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, and faces the consequences pretty quickly. So, I have to go check out this tension that's building here between the Rude dudes and their opponents in One Blood. What I really like is the spread that Rude dudes is taking here, literally surrounding the likes of One Blood on all four sides. It seems to be the goal is to surround them on all four sides, which would leave room, ladies and gentlemen, for a term, a tactic, a play that I have coined the BOA method, because I'm not sure what the official terminology for it would be, but I call it the BOA method. It's essentially a 1-1, 1-1 split, 2-2 split, or a 3-1 split, where you surround the opponent on multiple sides and constrict upon them simultaneously, giving that high pressure factor. Usually, the opponent, if they are caught unawares, then there's a panic factor big time. And on top of that, there is multiple lines of fire at you. And so it is an extremely effective tactic when implemented successfully. The issue, why don't we see it every single game? It's because it's extremely tough to get into that positioning successfully without giving up your positioning to the opponent. And Manny, weighing the options, is he going to fire? Because shots against a full retreating team of One Blood might not be the move. And Makuri might have caught wind. No, he's getting a new vehicle, dipping out of dodge, and trying to prioritize securing that placement. Which, if you did miss it in round one, ladies and gentlemen, we are working with the official updated PMPL scoring structure, where eliminations are going to place a higher emphasis than previously, and placement is taking a little bit of a backseat. I only say a little bit because placement is still a very, very weighted factor. Placement still definitely has a point. There is still a benefit of securing that in-game top 8 positioning. Those points can absolutely make the difference between advancing to finals and not advancing. And speaking of which, we didn't have time to get into it in the very beginning, but for those who are unaware with the structure and format of this event, let's go ahead and get into that for just a brief minute. Now, we have 20 teams competing in the qualifiers, and of those 20 teams, 4 teams will advance on to the finals, and we run 3 qualifiers, so that's 12 qualified teams to join the 8 invited Tier 1 professional teams, where they're all going to duke it out for that $400 first place prize and $50 top frag prize come July 30th. All right, where is the blood going to be? I think right here. We got Train to Kill. Yeah, Train to Kill. Currently in a peanut butter and trouble sandwich here, surrounded on both sides by members of Jay Nepal, but they are traveling as a fairly solidified unit here, so I think they have about as good of their odds as possible. This might be the BOA strat. Let's see if Jay Nepal can do this. Well, Train to Kill trying to escape and retreat, but now actually has the advantage over Jay Nepal surrounding them, and they don't even realize. But, oof, Arav getting the takedown on Yo Araji, and Fury still unaware of his positioning as Arav gets the takedown on him, too, before being retaliated on by the likes of Lucifer. Well, that is quite a gain there for Train to Kill, and I think they have a good reasoning at this point to retreat on back and go take on that fight head on at this point. The numbers are in their favor. And as I say that, who is it firing from the hilltop? None other than Jay Nepal's KK. And boy, oh boy, that early spread out positioning surrounding the opponent early game, or earlier, I should say, maybe about 30 or 45 seconds ago, I think that really wasn't without probable reasoning. While it didn't pay out in a BOA method, it gave an opportunity for KK to alleviate the pressure off of Lucifer, who is almost certainly in a conundrum, as Yo Araji and Fury are already down, and it might have made the life-saving play to bring them back up. But again, he might not even realize that without that observer's 20/20 hindsight. we do see another... Yeah, it's the tiny fan club coming in, smelling the blood in the water, and with a third party on the mine, Trouble drops off a teammate and takes that subtle monster truck to the top of the hill. He wants to play King of the Hill here with Jay Nepal's KK. And can he do it? KK getting the takedown on Trouble before Revenge dished out. It was a numbers game, and it was not in Jay Nepal's favor, at least not in terms of KK. Well, the fight continues forward off in the distance between the same two teams as Little U tries to get a CQC close quarter fight with Fury and Lucifer, but they fall back. Little U still gets a knock with the M4 as they retreat, but Revenge is a very real thing here and proven on Little U. TFC now reduced down to a three-piece of Trouble, Dusku, and Saiganu, but the high ground is theirs to hold. Will they be able to make it count before Jay Nepal tries to retreat? All right. Well, Yoaraji, in a desperate attempt to flee for his life, he has weighed the options and knows that Fury is not really pick-upable from his positioning from where Yoaraji is, so it's every man for himself. Gonna try his best to escape their clutches. What could be something else happening on the playing field? I will pull it up on the alt view and just make sure we're not missing out on anything. Well, it does look like TFC could be, yep, still in relatively close proximity, but it's TFC that are going to be taking the fight with Jay Nepal shortly, very shortly. Dusku taking a hefty hit, reduced down to below 1/4 of his overall health, desperately trying to med up as he just soaks up that blue zone damage, the blue juice, as my boy DKZA calls it. Ooh, Saigano surviving by the hair on his chin as Fury takes him down to literally 5% of his health, and the play zone finishes the rest. Going to exemplify another great point, ladies and gentlemen. If you have seen me cast before, you know my spiel, but I don't care who you are or what tier you play at. If you're a T1 Pro or a T3 Open Scrim occasional player, nobody has a higher KD than that blue zone, so you can't take it lightly, especially not in a RedEyes event. All right, Extreme Slayers in a tussle as we speak, up against the opposition in Eclipse. Now, Eclipse a little bit outside zone here, giving Extreme Slayers a nice little wiggle room here for a gatekeep and potentially another safety net in this compound as Remix gets the wall cover to be revived by Robert. Where should we aim our attention to? Make sure we're not missing anything else. Sorry about that. It doesn't look to be the case. All right, we got Eclipse trying to drive on by. Robert firing away 6x M16 single fire and just dishing out a couple bullets of damage to them and maybe a few bullets of damage to the vehicle, but not really anything significant or of enough cause to chase. But they still have to move because the zone has spoken, ladies and gentlemen, as we know to be the nature of PUBG Mobile. As the match progresses, that zone is going to shrink and leave our participants with fewer and fewer options in terms of real estate to occupy. So it could become a battle for placement and positioning, especially on an open map like Miramar, where that geographical advantage could lie in the forms of these mountaintops and mesa tops, getting a huge overwatch over tons of open area. This map, more so than ever, is where geography can be an absolute advantage holder. High ground can mean quite a bit. All right, we are about to get into a little bit of action here. It looks like a member of Eclipse, No Mercy, has been eliminated, leaving it down to Kai and one teammate, I believe. Yes, Kai and Kat. All the while, the action looms on in the distance. So we will pull this up on two different feeds. Eclipse surrounded by the opposition here in Extreme Slayers, and that is not a team you want to be surrounded by, especially not at this stage in the game where there are no placement points to be had. And it does look like elsewhere on the map, not really a lot happening, but could get something here between Saturn and the Rude Dudes, and it does actually look to be the case. We do have Saturn engaging, firing outwards at Rude Dudes as Chalaco Boy 3x M4 tries to dish out some bullets, but unfortunately, in the process, without landing a single bullet, he just brought attention onto himself and is taken down instead, leaving it reliant upon Darwin and Fernon. Fernon going down as well now. And that's going to leave Darwin and Ondok as the final hopes for the team. And meanwhile, here on the big screen, Dark of the old gangsters getting a takedown on his opponent in Overnight, but then dished out a plate of revenge in a second serving of it as well. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Overnight has a lot of ground to make up for. They got last place in round 1, and that is quite a handicap to recover from. So they definitely, at the very least, need to ensure that they make it to the end game. And realistically, with that performance in round 1, they are going to need a very, very heavy number of kills to have even a reasonable shot at advancing to the finals. All right, Train to Kill coming in to join the party between Rude Dudes and Saturn. And boy, Jung got a taste of revenge served way too early, way earlier than he was expecting. As soon as he gets the knock, just beginning to celebrate, he swallows a hefty mouthful of bullets instead. And that is going to bring Saturn Esports a good reason to advance upon the remainder of Rude Dudes. Chalaka Boy holding back to do just that, while Andok goes ahead and advances northbound to try to get some placement in this new zone. Now Mezexis preparing for an altercation and getting it between themselves and members of Team Supreme. Now Team Supreme, let's have a look at them. They did enter this one once again as a two-piece, so it's no points to them, but they did not waste their time by entering. They are still ensuring that they will not be disqualified preliminarily from Dead in August. All right, Bope Esports having at it in the distance. Let's have a quick look-see. They are down to a three-piece, and now currently a two as the caster curse is real. Fuego is taken down, leaving it reliant upon Grunion and Nicro. And Nicro already cooking up a monster load of nades here and getting a takedown on Trouble. And already throwing some more out to try to secure a thirst as he begins his aggressive advancement upon the opposition. And look at this. I like this. Grunion holding the back. Nice little angle of Overwatch here. Nicro coming in for it. They're not putting all their eggs in the basket here because this is still a bit of a handicap against TFC. Not anymore. Boom. That deed is done. TFC not able to secure a revive and heal up before the advancement from Bope. And just experience playing off in full form. Now, what should we be tuning into? None other than Nucleotide in this altercation here with members of Synergetic. I don't even know if Synergetic caught wind of the opposition or are giving them the respect of being concerned, but yes, they are. Okay, they are getting off in a 2-2 split with the high ground over Axar. Kabir still unawares, then finally catching wind. It does look like he's able to take down Makuri of One Blood, but boy, that still isn't going to leave any wiggle room against the high ground holders in Synergetic. Well, it's down to Goated, and talk about a chance at redemption, as Goated was the first eliminated from his team in round 1, so a chance to redeem himself here, but in a bit of a tough position. The GOAT has been taken out. One nade to rule them all, and that Mountain Goat faced a rough end. But look at this glitch. It is a absolute nightmare in terms of figuring out what maps or what fights are actually still currently going on. We have QTZ, now the final member of what entered in as a two-piece for Team Supreme, getting eyes on Remix of Extreme Slayers. Now, while Team Supreme has no shot at advancement, they do have a very, very real capability of ruining someone else's day. And Extreme Slayers might catch wind of that right here and now. All the while, he's right on top of Mezexis members who don't seem to be aware of his positioning. All right, on the smaller screen, we can see Nucleotide Vendetta reduced down to Axar alone. Kabir has been taken down. Ayush knocked as well and quickly thirsted, and this is going to be a tough one. Kabir holds the entirety of the team's kills. Axar in a low ground disadvantage up against a tier 1 pro team in Mezexis, inactive in Skyline with the Overwatch. All right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I see a couple complaints about lag. That is, from what my OBS is reading, we don't have a single frame of drop on our end. So I would just advise lowering the resolution on your video player from whatever it is down to something lower, that should fix it pretty easily. Okay, well, this is as good as we're going to get in terms of zooming in on the map view here. So where is the fight going to be from? I'm going to say, the best odds are going to be Mezexis up against QTZ, the final hope for Supreme. That's my guess. Elsewhere, everything else looks to be a bunch of dead teams in close proximity, so it's not really an altercation in the works. All right. Well, QTZ playing the slow play here, and he's catching a breath of fresh air as one of the boat members is actually going to be taking the attention from Mezexis Crow, who had the best high ground you can get in PUBG Mobile on that mountaintop right there, and boy, he used it. And that's going to leave Grunion as the final hope here for Boat. And whether or not he's got revenge on the mind, I'd say, given their performance in round one, it's probably going to be more about maintaining a decent positioning in the game, placement-wise. So I think he's doing the right thing by just kind of weighing the options and letting himself cut his losses. And I think that's going to bring Zeus to be our next potential man with the first-class ticket to lobby. And, ooh, it's actually Extreme Slayers off in the distance. I will pull that up on the main screen. We'll put the alt cam down to here in a minute. But Extreme Slayers already beginning to continue the onslaught. I don't even know why I said beginning. They are continuing that onslaught. All the while, Zeus outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned against multiple members of C4 and still getting the takedown on Kismet. Now look, Robert GG 3X M4 Glacier aimed outwards at none other than Rising Legend, and it's quick work for him as Error took all the attention from him. He's just quickly picking off the remains in a third party from hell. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to 12 people spread across 4 teams as we are reaching the end game for round 2. It's going to be all out bloodbath warfare from this point on. This zone has shrunk something fierce, and it is not a forgiving one. It is going to be focusing in right next to this high ground that Extreme Slayers are just dominating. They are the kings of the hill in terms of positioning here with an overwatch of literally 360 degrees. They can see the entirety of the remainder of the playing field here, and Aqua facing a tough hit. Just going to show why getting that early real estate can be huge and pivotal. C4 is actually contesting for that same real estate, but Frady is the high ground holder here, and Daddy Payne suffers the consequences. All right, that is clipped and titled. Now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Error deep in a world of trouble, and it's not going to go well for him. His teammate is down, and Fufad is quickly to join him back in the lobby, but Deep still hanging on by the hair on his chin, but with no way of healing. He is out of those resources. Ladies and gentlemen, in-game is when those resources are going to be extra pivotal, but sometimes that luxury of holding on to them is not afforded to us. And this is a false sense of security. Those 4 walls are not saving him. His position's no secret, and one nade is about to make the difference between life and death. He's going to be fish in a barrel if he does not find a way to get out of here and fast, and it does not look to be possible. C4, all they need is one nade that's relatively well thrown through that doorway, and Deep is done. Deep will be buried 6 feet deep. Oh my gosh, these dad jokes are so corny. It is just amazing. Off in the alt cam, we have Grunion in a 1v2 against 2 members of Extreme Slayers here with a low ground disadvantage, trying to account for his backside at the same time, and that is a tough one. Well, we're getting both ends here as we are down to 7 people across 3 teams, ladies and gentlemen. The end game for round 2 has arrived. This is your chance to make your final moment here. And if you're Extreme Slayers in a 3v1, or if you're Extreme Slayers or C4, let's just say you want that chicken dinner finish, especially after the performance that C4 was able to put forward in round 1 here. We're going to see if they can bring in a little momentum for round 2 in-game. But Grunion, if you're Grunion, you've got the best opportunity of all to lay low and let those two teams fight it out. Let those numbers dwindle, and then very quickly, once that elimination, you see that in the kill feed, that is your chance to be the shark in the water, the third party from hell, and swarm upon the opponent like mosquitoes in a North Carolina summer and just get some bullets on an already weakened team. That is his best possible shot. But it seems to be an opportunity that will not be afforded to him. Extreme Slayers are all too aware of Grunion's positioning here, but they don't seem to have the utilities to secure the knock. I think if they had the nade, they would have thrown it by now. I withdraw that. Robert does have a nade. What am I saying? I'm not sure why he hasn't. Well, kiss me. Getting a little bit of unwanted attention from the high ground holders in Extreme Slayers, and he is getting the kiss of death there. God, these jokes are so corny. I love it. And Grunion, yeah, now his hope might come true. His wish might really come true. C4 reduced down to a two-piece of Psycho and Bond up against another two-piece in Hayuya and Robert GG. All Grunion needs to do is lay low and try to hope that they take each other out before that zone comes in, and the caster curse. It happens. Grunion is out of there. We got ourselves a 2v2 to end round 2. How fitting, ironically. But yeah, a 2v2, a fair fight for round 2. Let's get it. Hayuya, not even gonna make a budge. He's got that little bit of geographical cover behind the boulder, not to mention some high ground as well, but keeps on checking on his teammate. For what reason, I couldn't tell you. And here we have it. Bond and Psycho playing the slow play here. These two are not to be taken lightly by any means. Psycho was a absolute UC warrior in my custom UC rooms back in the day, several years ago. And, I mean, won a disproportionate amount of those games. It was honestly a slaughterhouse. And so you do not want to let either of these members be underestimated. Now, having said that, they're up against Hayuya and Robert GG, two of the starting lineups for Extreme Slayers, and that, well, reputation precedes itself. They don't even need an introduction, so Psycho and Bond are not underestimating their opponents, so Extreme Slayers shouldn't either. Well, this is the perfect example of saving those utilities as a life and death difference maker. Those utilities are the only reason Bond is able to advance forward even slightly. And now, getting the focus, he is taken down, but not before dishing out a world of hurt onto Hayuya, but experience pays off. And Extreme Slayers living up to the name and just absolutely slaying the opposition. Any way you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, that is game over. But what an impressive performance by the T1 Pro Team in Extreme Slayers as they secure that gold medal, chicken on the tip of their tongue, first place finish with, count 'em up, 18 kills. And to put that in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically 2 kills shy of taking out 1/4 of the entire playing field. That speaks for itself. Great performance, and those eliminations are going to carry a hefty weight on top of the placement points that they already acquired. Ain't nothing wrong with silver, as C4 secures that second place silver medal finish with, count 'em up, 10 kills even. Bope getting all the way up to third, thanks to Grunion hanging in there with 10 kills of their own. We got one of the air teams, Classy, Aqua, Fafad, and Deep, grabbing fourth with 2 kills from Classy. Mizexis securing fifth this time around with 5 kills between Skyline and Crow. The Rude Dudes very politely working their way into 6th place with 1 kill from Zeus. Team Supreme has a 2-piece, 0 kills, but they wouldn't have gotten scored either way as they don't have enough tags. Regardless, I appreciate them giving it a genuine effort there. We've got Rising Legend grabbing 8th place this time around with 1 kill from Knight and Overnight. How fitting and ironic. Getting 9th place this time around with 1 kill from Unknown. We got Nucleotide Envy in 10th this time with 3 kills, all of which came from Kabir. Synergetic in 11th with 1 kill from KK. The Old Gangsters getting a little older here as they work their way down to 12th place with 0 kills. One Blood, 1 kill from Curry, 13th place. Saturn Esports in 14th with 3 between Andok and Darwin. The TFC crew in 15th with 5. We got Jay Nepal working their way into 16th with 1 kill from Yoa Raji. Train to Kill in 17th with 1 kill from Junj. Eclipse in 18th, but 0 kills to speak of. Zenith in 19th with 1 kill from Kizzy. And lastly, the other error team, Jonathan, Master Hawk, and Zayaldar in 20th and last place with a big ol' onion for kills. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that are 2 out of the 3 matches out of the way. We've seen our participants on the very first map ever of Erangel before we moved and migrated to that dry, wide open, arid desert of Miramar. But I am curious, what is going to happen when we take the geography to a flip-flop opposite and go to a smaller map? I am, of course, speaking of that lush, condensed jungle/forest of Sandhawk as we return for our 3rd and final match of my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by Hunter of Gunman and Glacier Gaming for the final month. We'll be back in just a few short moments, guys. Stick around. Be back soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the format. Welcome back to our third and our final round for the day for my very own RedEyes $450 Dead in July tournament qualifiers for Group A, brought to you and sponsored by Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming for the final month. And again, for the last time tonight, but just please make sure you guys reach out to them and let them know how much you've, if this, event has been something you've participated in at any point over the past year, please reach out to them and let them know how much you appreciate their contribution to this community. What they did was the most selfless thing I think I've ever seen from anyone in this community, and they just deserve all the best in the world. So thank you for keeping my dream in this event alive for the community. And already we are getting into the thick of things, ladies and gentlemen. We are ending the night with, you guessed it, the lush condensed jungle/forest of Sandhawk. Now, what do we need to say about this map? Basically the exact opposite of our last match, which was Miramar. This is going to be our smallest map as opposed to Miramar, which is our largest, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is going to be a bit higher. But you have to remember at the same time that this is the most condensed map that we have in the game. Now, what do I mean when I say condensed? I mean most lush in vegetation. There's more natural cover to take, more grass to hide inside, and trees and boulders to hide behind, so you got to be alert for a higher than average number of snakes. Let's get into it. Already we're about to get some action here on the board. No need for that intro, no need for that format. Let's go ahead and see what's happening. We got members of Rising Legends currently sandwiched here in between multiple opponents. They got members of Tiny Fan Club in front, and just beneath them is going to be Saturn Esports. This is the deli meat of a peanut butter and treble sandwich. And boy, oh boy, how is it going to play? Now look at this. We got a love triangle forming here, and meanwhile, off in the distance, we've already got altercations as Mezexis is inactive, is taken down at the hands of an old gangster. That nade almost crashing down on Derek's for the knock at least, but taking him down to about 5 to 10% health instead. He is thanking his lucky stars, given a second chance at life, so to speak. But you know who might not be so lucky there? Oh, Train to Kill going after Extreme Slayers. I will catch eyes on that. All right. So on the alt cam, if we take notice, Extreme Slayers is down to a 3-piece. They lost Remix early on, but it looks like they were fairly spread out. So it doesn't seem like there'll be any immediate confrontation as a result of that. And, yep, here we have it. Mr. Black has swarmed upon the enemy a little bit aggressively, getting, I believe, a takedown on one of the Rising Legends, and then a second as Knight is getting a quick good night. And it is going to be trouble getting Knight thirsted and then quickly swarming on Derek. Little U is down, as well as Dusku. It's going to be all reliant upon Mr. Black and Treble. Ondok with the... Wow. Almost a knock that shouldn't have happened, as he had several bullets fired on him before even getting his first off, but still, the accuracy pays off, and he was able to secure the takedown before being retaliated on. So it wasn't all for naught. But we've got so much here happening on the playing field. Let's catch eyes. Getting eyes on Zenith as they're swarming upon the One Blood members. They got a takedown on Silent. Revenge is dished out onto Mono. Now it's all down to Snipe and Dolce. And, ooh boy, Mono is thirsted. Dolce and Snipe to carry on the name, but keep in mind they entered this match as just a 2-piece. And Snipe is down as the caster curse is all too real, ladies and gents. That's going to leave Dolce in a 1v4 scenario if you cannot stick this revive, and I don't see a likely possibility of getting this revive before just the swarm of old gangsters members just piles on them. Like, again, I gotta use this metaphor, mosquitoes in an NC summer, but yep, Dolce is out. So, catching eyes for some reason on a ADHD player from Nucleotide. 20p was dozing off and thinking about life. Well, old gangsters thrown out of the frying pan into the fire, given no time to recalibrate themselves after that altercation, After they secure their thirsts, they're quickly swarmed upon by the remainder here of One Blood, and Venom wasting no time. It's down to Kiddu and Dark at this point. Kiddu desperately trying to heal up, does so successfully, but Dark is the focal point at this point. And, ooh, Hayuya in an unintentional assist, accidentally helping out the old gankers with a takedown on One Blood and doing it again. Silent is silenced, and now Dark, given that little surprise angle, almost able to clutch it there, getting Slayer down to almost no health, but the numbers are in One Blood's favor there, and they've just paid off. But now, and to be undone, Kiddu coming in a little bit late, but still able to finish the job, and potentially in enough time to secure some revives. He only has, or a revive. Does look like the other member of the team has been thirsted, and Daku is soon to follow. Yep, that assist from Extreme Slayers was an assist with some fine print saying, hey, yeah, we'll help you, but we are not going to let you get your teammates. We're helping you, but not for the sake of helping you. Okay, well, Error and Train to Kill preparing for an altercation as Arav gaining... Actually, he's holding ground here, and Error is going to be gaining ground on him. We can see Jonathan and another teammate, Zaildar, holding position, and it looks like Arav may have made a fatal error there up against Team Error. All puns intended. And, yep, Train to Kill. Adarsh is down, and now Kaji is soon to follow here, potentially. But Kaji's actually the one who gets the takedown. With no health to speak of, he still secures the knock and thirst, and Arav coming in to provide a little bit of cover fire while Kaji tries to secure a first aid. Can this work? It does. Train to Kill, overcome the odds. Nicely done there. All right, well, it looks like Mizexis did finish the work on that member of Extreme Slayers as Frady is eliminated. That's going to leave it down to Robert, GG, and Hayuya. Now, this is the two-piece that it was reduced down to in round 2. And we've seen what they can do as a two-piece, as they did still secure that dub for round 2. So I'd say you can't rule them out. History speaks for itself sometimes. All right, where's our next bit of blood going to come from if that is the case? This spectator glitch is just a nightmare. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing we can do. It has been reported to the developers, and they're made aware. Overnight, using a pretty nice gatekeep on members of Saturn Esports, Darwin and Chalaco Boy at a bit of a disadvantage here, kind of with their backs up against the wall. That wall, of course, being the blue zone. And the only... if they don't have a vehicle, at this point, I see the vehicle, but I think that it's actually a little too damaged there to be used. I'm going to find out. I'm not sure why they haven't pulled a rotation if that vehicle is usable. And here they're doing so right now. But boy, talk about a gutsy move. They really put a lot of investment in that vehicle not being, shot and exploded. Well, Chalaco Boy and Darwin going to give it another go as they try to figure out a way to work inside the zone. It's going to have to be a wide flank, and I do think they're probably making the right call there. Taking a little bit extra blue zone damage in the process, but it's probably the only realistic way into the new zone. So, I think... Yep, that's all dead participants. So, eliminated participants, I should say. Here we go. The Rude Dudes up against the now two-piece of Overnight. Nito and Voodoo, and the caster curse is real, as Nito is quickly downed as soon as I say his name. It was basically a kill button. The kill switch was flipped. And now it's down to one last Overnight up against Manny of Rude Dudes. Now, Manny, fairly distant away from his opponents, but this is the issue I have with these tiny buildings. They provide a false sense of security. Now, if Manny, and I can tell Manny does know Voodoo's location, he's just waiting for Voodoo to make a sliver of himself known, but he doesn't need to. Voodoo is a fish in a barrel here. One nade thrown through that window, it's an almost certain nade knock. And this would probably boil down to a bit of misjudgment on Manny's end, in my opinion. But at the same time, he does not know that Voodoo is necessarily the last member of the team. So waiting for the teammates to come and provide some assistance, that does make sense too. But here we go. Manny making a risky weapon switch, and luckily Bangu was there. So I withdraw my previous statement about it being an error. While that nade could have gotten the takedown, I still think Rude Dudes didn't really have a way of knowing that that was the final opponent. So they did nothing wrong by playing it safe there. I think, you know, that might be the first mistake I've ever made in PUBG Mobile. You can mark the date and time. I'll never make one again. Little thing called sarcasm, ladies and gents. All right. Now, the Rude Dude's going to work their way in with 2 kills to their name, but carrying on as a full 4-piece. And you know what I say, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot put enough emphasis on being a full 4-piece come in-game. It can be the absolute difference-making variable between life and death. And winning and not winning, advancing and not advancing. Look what Jada Paul's doing. This is now the 2nd or 3rd game in a row where they are feeling fairly comfortable in their solo shoes, meaning spreading apart from the team in increments and surrounding the opponent. But it looks like they're going to reunite here. That's not to discredit that that play that they had in round 1, really just constricting upon the opponent. It could have been a boa method, potentially in the making, but we will never find out. Regardless, it was a confident play to spread out and surround a team that outnumbers you. So, speaking of being surrounded by a team that outnumbers you, we got Robert GG swimming in an opposition of synergetic members. Let's get a better idea of just how close they are from one another. Okay, 1 building separating them. Just 1 little building. Oh, not even. KK is in that building. Robert GG has 10 feet of personal bubble space, and that is all Synergetic is going to allow him to have. Well, let's make sure we're not missing anything. Okay. Yeah, we're going to stay here for... Oh, nope. We're going to go check out this 2-piece of No Mercy and Cat on Eclipse. Pardon me. On Eclipse, at this time, a 1-piece. The final Cat in the hat here, up against Chalaco Boy. Saturn Esports is out of orbit as Cat gets the takedown. Well, ladies and gents, that's going to bring us down to 11 teams spread across 30 people. But you know what time it is, don't you? It is that time again. We have got one more 600 UC code to give away tonight. So who wants it the most? Who's got that fastest internet connection? We're about to figure that out right here and now. Okay, let's get into it. The second UC code of the night, the second and final one, is going to be CKEQZOHZ8PD. That is redeemable at the link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat, and it is a first come, first serve, only 1 redeem available. Jana Paul, Lucifer, is getting an unhealthy dosage of both esports members. And boy, oh boy, the devil is down as Lucifer is quickly knocked and, how ironic, burned at the crisp like a little candle there. Now, let me go ahead and remove this code. Well, bam, nothing but gameplay from here on out. It is all out bloodbath warfare from this point on as we reach around the mid to concluding stages, or concluding portions of stage 4. It's going to be a little less real estate to choose from and a little more action on the edge of our seat, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's a battle of real estate, realistically. But the good thing that they have going is that this is still Sandhawk. Oh, wow. This is still Sandhawk. KK was quickly taken out of that vehicle. And goodness knows, Nucleotide Envy wasting no time before reorienting their attention now onto Train to Kill. A weakened Arav is quickly thirsted, but not by them, by the other bread of that deli meat sandwich, Bope Esports. Bope Esports now working their way to 2 kills as well, but still a full 4-piece. You know my spiel. Can't be enough emphasis on a full 4-piece come-in game. So while we have a moment of downtime, for the last time tonight, we'll go over the format as it currently stands. We got 20 teams competing in each qualifier, and of those 20 teams, only 4 teams get the opportunity to advance to the $450 finals. 3 qualifiers means 12 qualified teams to join the 8 invited Tier 1 professional teams, where they're all going to duke it out on July 30th for that $450 prize pool. And here we have it, Bope Esports putting some warning shots on the passers-by in Nucleotide Envy, and that is not going to amount to much altercation here. Perhaps Eclipse's final hope, Cat, might end up in an altercation with one particular rude dude in the shape of Peaceful. Will he live up to his name? I'm betting a little bit of the opposite. All right, here he goes. It's going to be the advancement. Two of his teammates are now down, reducing them down to half of their starting lineup. It's just him and Bangu to carry on the name, and Bangu is just right up at the front of trouble here with multiple error members at the forefront. He does secure the takedown on Aqua with a monster nade. Well placed. Aqua, no time to really heal up after that revive. Now Fafad could be next. Will it connect? Fafad taking a little bit of damage, but not enough for the finish. Bangu giving out those warning fires and then finishing what he started with Fafad. Great takedown, and that is going to leave Peaceful here to try to come and take the attention off of Classy. Classy still swarming in and getting a little revenge there. It's going to be a 1v1 up against Peaceful, but Classy prioritizing a first aid and well fought, because this is a RedEyes event, ladies and gents. And in RedEyes events, you know, the zones are boosted damage. We don't have time for those zone campers or the heal strats. Oh, up the hill, we got Bope and Nucleotide Envy going at it with one another, and we'll pull that up on the alt cam so we don't miss any action. Nades being thrown outwards from Fuego as Nitro advances on him, and definitely needs to heal. Oh, here on the main stage, though, it's going to be a rough end for Peaceful. But that is going to speak for that. Let's go see the action up front here. Mizexis catching eyes on Synergetic. Skyline, one of three members left, and trying to get a line of sight on KK, not getting that luxury. Off in the distance, Bope and, well, actually, pardon me, off in the distance, Bope finishing off the remainder of Nucleotide Vendetta. And Skyline dishing out quite a bit of damage that Crow can finish on. Ooh, a feast for Crows as he takes out Lamb and then works on a goat. That is, okay, so Crow takes out a lamb and then takes out a goat. There are so many corny puns that could be made here. I'm just going to leave it as an alley-oop to anyone who wants that. All right, well, the Crow has been shot from the sky. It's down to Skyline and Baton. Skyline with revenge on the mind, but a low ground disadvantage. Firing uphill at the full four-piece of Bope Esports, getting Nitro down, but oh, the Skyline has fallen, leaving Baton thrown in the air. Can he carry on for the team in a boosted dead zone damage? Anyone who's participated in my event and has watched a single stream of it will know that that is my freebie to the viewers, the warning about the boosted zone speeds and damage. All you have to do is support the event by tuning in and showing a little solidarity there to get that little freebie. We got Supra. Bope is really playing this just phenomenally. This is the kind of gameplay you expect from a pro team. Really prioritizing things. Even when there was just one member down, we had one revive immediately being implemented and two overwatches and cover fires from the high ground angle. It's just, you know, working with the resources given to you. And Supra doing so with a nice little takedown on KK with that M4. That is going to leave Goated, a newly revived Goated, as the final hope for Synergy, or one of the final two hopes for Synergetic. We are down to our final two teams, Bope and ERG. All right, can Goat do it? No, the Goat is down. And, ooh, that is that. What an absolute domination performance there by the likes of Bope Esports. This team has got a couple new names here, Supra and Grunyan. Grunyan, you know, I'm not really sure if it's just, you know, recurrent T1s changing their name or not, but this team seems to have some synergy and some confidence with them. They dominated the playing field here in round 3 and boasted a very healthy 12 kills, along with that chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue gold medal finish. We got Synergetic taking silver second place with 6 kills, and count this up, 4 of those 6 go to KK alone. Mizexis staying strong in the fight as they grab third place, getting that bronze medal finish with 3 kills. We got Nucleotide Envy working their way up to 4th with 4 kills between 20 and Kabir. The Rude Dudes politely working their way into 5th, and that is after their 6th place finish in round 2. So Rude Dudes in 5th this time around with 6 kills. Error getting 6th with 3 between Classy and Aqua. We got the 2-piece of Eclipse getting 7th with 2 kills. Hey, as a 2-piece, that's pretty decent placement. Train to Kill grabbing 8th place with 4 kills. 3 of those 4 coming from Kaji alone. The old gangsters saying, hey, age hasn't caught up to us yet. We're going to get 9th place with 4 kills to our name, half of which go to Daku. Jay Nepal in 10th with 4 kills. 75% of those kills go to Yoa Raji. Extreme Slayers, after a domination in one of the previous matches, having a bit of a rougher time here in round 3, going to further exemplify just the difference of geography, implementing a different style and strategy to go along with it. What worked so well on a map like Erangel or a map like Miramar might not quite be the ticket for that lush condensed forest of Sandhawk. So you got to be ready and willing to adapt to the geography. We got Saturn Esports putting up, the placement's not great, but the performance isn't bad at all. As you can see, there's a lot of potential here for Saturn Esports as they get 4 kills to their name, 1 per person, everyone pulling their fair share. 12th place, 4 kills. Overnight, entering again as a 3-piece, 13th place with 2 kills to their name. Error, this time around, the other Error, Jonathan, Joker, and Zayldar, who had a rough time in the last match with the last place finish, getting 14th this time around. A little improvement there with 1 kill from Jonathan. C4, the Dynamite has blown up in 15th place with 1 kill from Kiss Me. God, I want to cringe myself. Like, these jokes, I hear it coming out, and I just like, oh, you're a real jerk for even saying something so corny, and I can't stop. I want you to know it's a sickness, and the only potential cure, in my eyes, is more corny dad jokes. So, One Blood in 16th place with 2 kills. Both of those kills going to go to Slayer. Zenith in 17th with 0. TFC grabbing 18th this time around with 3 kills between Mr. Black and Little U. And lastly, the Rising Legend has set in last place, 19th, with 2 kills going to Guacamole. And that is not the good kind of kills. I gotta say, Guacamole is not the good kind of fat. This isn't the good kind of kills. 2 kills with the last place finish, not really getting the weight that you needed. But regardless, this was an absolute banger way to kick off the $450 Dead in July tournament. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't aware, this is just the first of 3 qualifiers. The way this works, we have 3 qualifiers and 1 final. So let me go ahead and pull that amazing calendar of dates up here on the board for you. Give me just a moment. Yes. All right. So here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 3 days from today, Sunday, July 23rd. What are words? July 23rd, Sunday, is our Group B qualifiers, where 4 more finalists will move forward to join the 4 advancing finalists from tonight's qualifiers, along with the 4 from the Tuesday, the 25th Group C qualifiers, where they're all going to duke it out on July 30th against the 8 invited Tier 1 pros for that $450 prize pool. And ladies and gentlemen, that prize pool is pretty biased because it's $400 winner take all, basically, for first place, and a little something if you get the most kills, $50 top frag prize, courtesy of Hunter of Gunmen and Glacier Gaming for the final month after a amazing year of partnership and sponsorship. I just want to give another thank you, and I'm going to do this for every qualifier and final this month because those 2 deserve all the kind sayings in the world. So be sure, if you haven't yet, to reach out to them and thank them for everything that they've done for this community over the past year. Well, ladies and gents, that's going to conclude tonight, but we'll be back at you in 3 more days for the Group B qualifiers with 2 more 600 UC codes to give away. Until next time, I'm RedEyes, and I'll see you around. Have a good one.